Ski. And the greeters and technical team that are making today's live stream possible, I would like to welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North congregation, which we lovingly call UUMAN. UUMAN is a liberal faith community with the mission to nurture our spirit, strive for justice, and transform the world. No matter who you are, who you love, or where you are on your spiritual journey, all are welcome here. Welcome to all that are joining us remotely. For any visitors who are here with us for the first time, and if you are comfortable doing so, please stand and tell us your name and where you're from so that we can get to know you better. Are there any visitors on my left? Hi. Hi, Laura. Hi. On my right? Yeah, right there? Go ahead. Oh, hey, welcome, Donna. Anyone else over here? Go ahead. Hey, Samantha. All right, this side. Am I right? Nope. Okay. And now we have some announcements. Parents and caregivers, it's time to register your kids for the 2025-26 church year, including children's chapel and religious education. Scan the QR code in your order of worship and register now so you're not delayed on Sunday morning, August 10th, when we kick off the new year. Please consult your printed order of worship to see our other second-hour adult enrichment offerings for today. And finally, a word of caution. Today's sermon will deal with adult themes, including brief references to abuse, neglect, racism, and fundamentalist belief systems. Parents may want their children to participate in the kids' activity in the fellowship hall. And now, let us greet one another with the hand or elbow of friendship. Our call to worship today is entitled Fragments of Childhood by Meredith Olson. We were all children once, and we carry fragments of our childhood times with us. Today, let us honor those children who walked before us, who transformed into what we have become, who led us to this place, who have lessons for us still. And now, let us light our chalice together. Our chalice lighting is Bringing Us Home to Love by Frances Cozier. We light this chalice today as people dedicated to personal growth. May it burn away the oppressions we have been taught and glow instead with the humility of learning. May it reignite our dreams for a better world and kindle our joy for simple living. May its warmth extend out into the forgotten alleyways of exclusion, bring us home to love, to welcoming, and to all the challenges, the questions, and the blessings of this beautiful path to becoming a beloved community. And now, as you are able, would you please stand and sing our opening hymn, number 170, in the hardback hymnal, "We Are a Gentle, Angry People." Meredith will play through once, and then we will sing together. At this point in our service, we share our joys with each other to magnify them, and our sorrows to divide the weight of their pain. If you are so moved, please feel free to come forward, state your name, and drop a pebble in the bowl and express a joy or sorrow that you may have. For those of you attending via our live stream, if you have a joy or sorrow that you would like to share this morning, please type it in the chat.
Oh, good. Gus is going to join me. Oh, good. Bruce. You're going to mute it? Okay, thank you. Hi, I'm Jennifer Philippi. I'm a member of this congregation. I have two pebbles today. One is a pebble of great gratitude for everyone here who has shown up for me in so many different ways in supporting my campaign for Roswell City Council. I can't tell you how much it means to you guys who have made donations, written postcards, made phone calls, knocked on doors, and just generally, even if you haven't done any of that, I feel your support. You're the wind at my back, and thank you so much. My next pebble, actually, yeah, looks like a shell, is a joy, a pebble of joy and, I guess, sorrow. 13 days from now, my son will be moving into his apartment in Auburn, and I'm so very proud of him, but I'm going to miss him terribly. So, to Auburn. War Eagle.
My name is Gus Haydorn. This is an age of tears in many ways, but it's also this day a day of great joy. I met my wife here, and she and I have children that were both born on this date before we were connected. And so I'm very proud of Johnny and Gabrielle. So that's it.
My name's Ash. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a member of this congregation, and I have two pebbles of joy today. One is for my sibling who has started attending a Unitarian Universalist church in their area. They are not a churchgoer. They've gotten involved in like a bunch of their ministries and stuff, so I'm super excited for them. So that's one. The other one is I have another person in my life that is also not a churchgoer. My friend Savannah, as she's actually watching from Texas, so hello, Savannah. So I just wanted to do a pebble of joy for that because she's here with us virtually, and it's really cool to have two people in my life that are into what I'm into. So.
I'm Doug Wilson, and I just wanted to have a statement of joy because I've been having back problems for, 20 or 30 years, but small ones, and I've started physical therapy recently. And I got this sweet little card from, I'm guessing, my care circle and maybe a few others, because some of them are squiggles. But it didn't seem necessary, because it's just, something I've been doing, but it was very sweet. And I felt I really enjoyed it. I was touched, so I wanted to say thank you. And have a good one.
I'm the wife. That's why people come to church. My name is Jennifer Ratcliffe. I just wanted to drop this pebble of concern for Callum Morrow. He's one of our youngy ones. He's having surgery this week. So please keep the whole family in your thoughts. They're really struggling with taking care of him. He's got severe sleep apnea. He's 20 months old, and the surgery is very, very delicate, and the recovery will be tough. So maybe we have a card for them. Thank you.
Has to come down further. Hello. So this is a pebble of joy that Mark and I had another grandbaby on July 11th, the day before Lexi had her baby. And our daughter Rihanna and Lexi were both brought up in this church. And at one time, we thought they were going to have it on the same day. It was close. But this is for Bailey and Nicole Bradley. Yeah.
I will drop, one final pebble for all those joys and sorrows still too tender to escape the folds of our hearts. Let's keep one another in our thoughts for the upcoming week.
Thank you all for being here today. Before I begin, I want to make it clear that what I have to say today is not intended as an attack on anyone or their decisions in how they educate their children. I am not a parent, and I know that I cannot begin to comprehend the difficult decisions that parents are faced with in today's world. It really isn't even an attack on Christianity or on my parents, who are two people with their own hopes, fears, and traumas. Rather, if I'm attacking anything today, it is the systems and structures that allowed and even celebrated the way I, my siblings, and many other conservative evangelical homeschooled families were raised. It may sound a little melodramatic to call myself a homeschool survivor, and I wish there were some other term that's a little less pretentious, maybe even a little more approachable. But I have not been able to find that language yet. And given that there were many days and even years where I did not think I would or could survive, I will use that term. There are plenty of stories out there from people like Tara Westover, author of the New York Times best-selling book Educated, who endured much more extreme and violent versions of my story. There's an entire subreddit, as there is for everything, called Homeschool Recovery, filled with heartbreaking stories from current and former homeschooled children. Homeschooling, when done right, can be an individualized approach to producing educated, well-rounded people set up for success in life. But homeschooling can also lead to educational neglect, isolation, feelings of loneliness, and can even provide cover for abusers far away from mandated reporters. My own experience with homeschooling is one of a toxic mix of religious fundamentalism, high-control family systems, abuse, and medical and educational neglect. I hope that my story today gives you more insight into who I am, the broader societal factors that help to shape me, and maybe even a little bit of hope for what's possible. My parents care deeply about their children. I am the oldest in my family, followed by a brother, then a sister, then another brother, then another brother, and finally, when I was 17, a sister. Something I've come to realize as I've gotten older is that most parents' greatest wish in life is for their children to be happy. As evangelical Christians, though, my parents first and foremost wanted their children to be holy. Because of this overwhelming desire to have disciplined followers of Christ as children, after all, in their belief system, our very souls were at risk, my parents were strict disciplinarians. Some of my earliest memories in life are of physical and verbal violence, or the fear of that violence being enacted on me or my younger siblings. Methods like blanket training and other physical punishments were commonly employed by my parents or their friends in their church circles on young children, sometimes even as young as infants. When my parents decided to homeschool their children, all 6 of us, from preschool to 12th grade, it was not a decision that took place in a vacuum. While the American homeschooling movement took off in the 1970s with self-proclaimed hippies who recognized that not every child is best served by a public school education, by the early 2000s, when my parents were raising us, the homeschool movement had been almost totally co-opted by conservative, mostly white Christian evangelicals who were associated with groups like Focus on the Family, the Heritage Foundation, yes, that same Heritage Foundation that wrote Project 2025, and other similar groups. You see, the conservative, overwhelmingly Christian right-wing movement, as we know it today, has not always existed. In the 1970s, amidst social turmoil and the push for racial integration in public education, there is a wave of white flight from public schools in America into private, usually Christian schools, or homeschooling. I'm skipping over a lot of context and nuance here due to the brief nature of today's talk. But essentially, the so-called moral majority was formed as a coalition of evangelical Protestant Christians concerned about their newly established private white-only schools being taxed by the federal government, and conservative Catholics who were mainly focused on the issue of abortion. This movement used coded language like religious liberty and family values. Homeschooling quickly emerged from this movement as a front in the broader cultural wars. Prominent among this movement were people you probably have heard of, like Jerry Falwell Sr., founder of Liberty University, who was labeled as the founder of the anti-gay industry, and Phyllis Schlafly, who famously helped lead the fight to defeat the Equal Rights Amendment. A slightly more modern figure in this group is Michael Farris, co-author of the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which is often cited by businesses who don't want to serve gay people. Michael Farris established an organization called the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, or HSLDA. HSLDA might just be the most powerful religious lobby you've never heard of. The stated goal of HSLDA is to, quote, tirelessly advocate for the right to homeschool in courts, legislatures, and everywhere else in the world. This may sound like a good thing, right? But the reality is much darker. HSLDA offers legal representation to homeschooled parents, including those who are being investigated for child abuse. According to Harvard Law School professor Elizabeth Bartholet, HSLDA argues that parents have an absolute right to control their children, educate their children, and to keep the state out, and therefore should not be subject to any regulation whatsoever. They have successfully argued in court cases that the government cannot mandate a child be evaluated for special needs, and that social services in North Carolina is not allowed to begin a welfare investigation based on anonymous tips. Great company, right? In 2010, Michael Farris had this pretty chilling quote to say: "Homeschoolers need to show the body of Christ how to respond to the days that are coming. Persecution is on its way. It will be in the courtrooms tomorrow. They are going to try to win." If you were to listen to the HSLDA, investigations by Child Protective Services are just a persecution of parents for being too godly. Rights of the parents reign supreme in this world. And in this world that HSLDA has helped to create, it is possible that no one outside the home may even be aware that a child exists. Their advocacy even extends beyond the United States. HSLDA was almost single-handedly responsible for the successful effort to prevent the UN ratification of the rights of the child and the rights of the disabled. Today, their efforts to deregulate homeschooling in all 50 states have largely been successful. HSLDA has been able to unleash the power of the homeschooling voting bloc. George W. Bush credits homeschoolers for their efforts in turning out the vote in his favor in 2000 during the presidential election. Betsy DeVos, Donald Trump's first Secretary of Education, was the first Secretary of Education to meet with HSLDA one-on-one. During Trump's most recent re-election campaign, Trump pledged to be a champion for homeschool parents. Notice there's no mention of homeschooled children. My parents also looked to more mainstream evangelical Christian groups like Focus on the Family, headed by Dr. James Dobson, who was another prominent member of the moral majority. They looked to him for parenting advice, for marriage advice, and overall guidance on how to raise their family in a fallen secular world. You might be familiar with Focus on the Family. They are best known for their efforts to campaign against gay marriage and other LGBTQ+ rights. Their long-running radio drama series, Adventures in Odyssey, and their popular movie review website called Plugged In, that promises to review the world of popular entertainment and gives families the essential tools they need to understand, navigate, and impact the culture. Just for fun and preparation for today, I looked up their review on Plugged In for the popular G-rated Disney children's animated movie, Frozen 2, that features princesses and a talking snowman. What do you think they had to say about it? Amid mentions of Princess Elsa's slightly low-cut gown and themes of nature-centric paganism, gasp, they conclude that Frozen 2 may feel to many conservatives relentlessly and problematically progressive. And that's before we get to the spiritual issues. Any whiff of Christian influence we find here comes well buried in a quasi-pagan mulch. For these reasons, Frozen 2 is not a slam dunk, take the whole fam movie for everyone. If this sounds like a slightly constrictive, maybe even regressive way to live life, that's probably because it is. As a child, I was taught that the outside secular world was dangerous and evil, filled with people like Unitarian Universalists who drank wine, danced, and listened to rock music, and even had women in the pulpit. Safety and security in such a fallen world could only be found within a strong church which preached the fundamentals of the Bible and a traditional family led by a strong, godly man. One man, by the way. Because of this fear of the outside world and a desire to protect us from indoctrination and things like evolution and communism in the public school system, my public school teacher parents decided to homeschool us. They set out with the best of intentions. As the oldest child in the family, every year when I started a new grade, a new box full of books from the homeschool curriculum company would arrive. And the previous grade's curriculum will be passed down to the next child in line. We used a Christian-based curriculum that featured both history and science heavily. In some ways, this curriculum was actually pretty high quality. But instead of being taught to question things and be curious, the study of both history and science were seen as a way to construct a case for the God of the Bible. We were told that the Bible was the ultimate authority on history and science and could never be proven wrong. When secular history or science books were used, my parents would take, no joke, a black Sharpie and ink out any mention of evolution, millions of years ago, and even references to cavemen. Notwithstanding all this, for a while, things seemed to be going pretty good. Even with the constant shadow of violence in the home and the disordered, chaotic family system, I honestly enjoyed my early homeschool years. I enjoyed learning and was given a strong foundation in reading and writing that I credit for much of my success later on in life. As we got older, though, things changed. This is the part of the story where my memory becomes a little fuzzy. Regardless of the exact reason, we stopped doing any sort of schoolwork for a long period of time, possibly over a year. During this time, I took on an increasing amount of the child care and household responsibilities. I was so involved in the care of one of my brothers as a baby that he called me Mama. I would have been about 9 at this point. The memories that I do have from this period in my life consist of a haze of mental and physical exhaustion from caring for my family and trying to, but often failing to, protect my siblings. We did not have access to mandatory reporters or resources that could have helped us or my parents, in large part thanks to efforts from organizations like HSLDA. When we resumed homeschooling again after that extended break, we were obviously behind and we were never fully able to catch up. Things weren't helped by the fact that my parents did not purchase curriculum for us past the 8th grade level. Again, thanks to people like the HSLDA, there was little to no oversight, ensuring that I had access to grade-appropriate, high school level coursework. My story, though, obviously does not end there. Through some luck, hard work, and help from others, I was accepted to college and able to attend using scholarships and financial aid. My struggles also did not end there. Imagine taking chemistry for the first time ever in your life as a college freshman in a 200-person class. Don't recommend it. But I survived. And even though it was hard, I managed to thrive. I had to learn as a young adult how to ask questions and how to be curious. I worked in several research labs during my time in college and even attended grad school. I met people of different backgrounds and beliefs, and I gradually worked to deconstruct my fundamentalist worldview and eventually made my way here to UUMAN. I was 17 when Donald Trump was first elected as president. At the time, I did not understand how the people in my church and family could have voted for someone who is so antithetical to every biblical value we preach. However, years later, when I was deconstructing and learning about the history of the moral majority and the Christian right, it all clicked. In many ways, the election of Trump and his overtly fascist ideology was the only logical conclusion of over 40 years of strategizing and planning by groups like the Heritage Foundation, Focus on the Family, and the HSLDA. The good news is that even the best laid plans can go awry. They wanted to raise a generation of biblical Joshuas, rising up to fill our parents' conservative religious shoes and leading our country into the promised land of biblical, nationalistic, conservative society. Instead, myself and many others who were raised to be foot soldiers in this culture war were able to break free and sometimes even fight back. I want to conclude by going over a short list of things you can do if you know of children who might be in a situation similar to the one I was in. These items might also help you help people of any age who come from a fundamentalist background. Can help them feel safe in a world that can be very unfamiliar and scary. Some of these items are things that outside adults in my life did that meant a lot to me as a kid. Other items are sourced from organizations like the Coalition for Responsible Homeschooling, Coalition for Responsible Home Education. 1, compliment the child to the parents in front of the child. It might be the kindest thing that child has heard about themselves in years. 2, give them opportunities, however small, to express their own thoughts and feelings. Believe those who say they are being abused. Encourage them to dream big and imagine a future where anything is possible. Tell them that they deserve to be happy. I still remember the first time that I ever was told that I deserved to be happy. I was 18 years old. And the person who said that, it probably meant nothing to them, but that has stuck with me for all these years. Let them know it's never wrong to question ideas or beliefs. And lastly, don't give up on them.
In an effort to fulfill and further the vision and mission of this congregation, we ask that our members and friends share of their time, treasure, and talents. With this, we now take the offering. You may also use the Give Now option in the Breeze app. This month's 50/50 recipient is Family Promise. Any check specifically designated as 50/50 or any Breeze donation specifying Give to 50/50 this month will go to support their work. We accept this offering, generously given by our members and friends to further the vision and mission of our congregation. May we use it wisely. And now please rise as you are able and join us in singing hymn 1028, The Fire of Commitment, from the softback hymnal. now extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. We carry in our hearts until we are together again. Today our benediction is entitled Go Forth in Simplicity by Sam Trubor. Find and walk the path that leads to compassion and wisdom, that leads to happiness, peace, and ease. Welcome the stranger and open your heart to a world in need of healing. Be courageous before the forces of hate. Hold and embody a vision of the common good that serves the needs of all people. Go in peace and enjoy your week ahead.